Your throne room, sire.
So there are plenty of games that, make you choose between good and evil. You got that, fork in the road where it's like you got to do the good thing or the bad thing. There are very few games that focus entirely on the evil.
Master, evilness truly suits you. Let us go forth. There are nefarious deeds to be done.
The whole goal of the game is to be evil, to, crush the will of villagers, to slaughter heroes, and generally be a bad guy. For the most part, Overlord's pretty successful in that. It's also interesting in the way that it kind of blends third-person action RPG elements with real-time strategy gameplay. The controls sometimes aren't up to the task. It's a little bit more complicated than the controls can handle. At the same time, it's a whole lot of fun.
We were just having a little fun with you earlier. No offense, eh?
What's most fun about Overlord is controlling your minions. They're so enthusiastic and just kind of mischievous. There's kind of like a childlike wonder to the way that they approach their work.
Call forth some minions.
You can just point the Overlord in a general direction and tell the minions to go, and they'll go and do whatever the appropriate action is. If it's an enemy, they'll kill it. If it's treasure, they'll bring it back to you. If it's some sort of equipment that they can use, like armor or weapons, they'll equip it themselves. Whatever they need to do, they'll do it. If you need to control the minions more directly, you can just sweep them across the screen. They kind of go in a big pack, and you can give them a little bit more specific direction. Some of the shortcomings of the controls in Overlord start cropping up a few hours in when you start having to manage these different groups of minions in a really rapid succession. You're fighting a boss where you have to post some of your red minions over to the side so that they can, launch attacks. Then you have to control a group of brown minions to bring them down to the floor to battle with a mixed group of enemies. And all the time you're having to switch back and forth and control these minions, and it can be a little bit overwhelming at times and feel like you're kind of struggling against the controls. For the most part, the control is pretty intuitive, and the camera is pretty cooperative. You can change it from behind the back, third-person perspective to an overhead view, and both of these serve their purposes in different situations. The biggest problem with Overlord is that, it's rated T for teen, and so you can only be so evil in the game.
See? It's all coming back now. Evil is not something you just forget.
And a lot of the missions that you're taking on over the course of the game feel like kind of the missions that you'd be taking on in a heroic role in a similar type of RPG game. Otherwise, Overlord is a lot of fun. It's a unique game in the way that it mixes together the RPG elements, the third-person action, and the real-time strategy. And for that alone, it makes the game worth playing.
Evil will always find a way.